There was a sober ceremony in Paris on Thursday morning. Flowers were laid at the offices of satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, whose offices were attacked by Islamic extremists 2 years ago, beginning a terrible period of terrorist threats for France. January the 7th, 2015 will be engraved in contemporary history, and not just in French textbooks. The attack on the magazine's offices by 2 terrorists and the massacre of many of Charlie's key contributors was a huge shock. The shockwaves would spread around France after the attack, and 3 days of a manhunt during which a police officer was killed and hostages were taken at a supermarket. The world watched in horror as freedom of expression itself and the Western way of life appeared under threat. On the following weekend, the 11th, millions of French people took to the streets in a mass demonstration against terrorism. 47 foreign political figures took part. The event was so remarkable, many thought it heralded a wave of jihadist attacks in Europe. But it was not the first ISIL-inspired outrage. That dubious honour belonged to the attack on the Jewish Museum in Brussels in May 2014, in which 4 people died. It was the first attack in the West claimed by ISIL. Ever since, Europe's appeared to be running to catch up, barely capable of digesting one attack before another followed. 11 months after the Charlie Hebdo massacre on November the 13th, horror returned to the streets of Paris when 130 people died in 5 separate coordinated attacks. 4 months later, the fight returned to Belgium with 3 simultaneous attacks claiming 32 lives. Come the summer, it was France's turn again with the truck attack in Nice on the evening of July the 14th. 86 people died. And on December the 19th, a truck was again used against a crowd, this time at a Berlin Christmas market. After hundreds of deaths in only a little over 24 months, it seemed as if a sort of innocence had been destroyed on the old continent. This is without doubt ISIL's greatest victory, and Charlie Hebdo has not emerged unscathed either. It may have launched a new German edition and be financially sound thanks to donations, subscriptions and state aid, but for many contributors their hearts are no longer in it in the same way. Charlie's editor Rees has said publicly he believes people have become less tolerant with his publication, and 2 of its most famous survivors, Luz and Patrick Pelloux, have quit for different reasons. And then I wrote underneath, "Everything's forgiven," which made me cry, and I realised I had the cover. We had the cover at last. Since that memorable cover born from the pain of the attack, until the latest one this week, none of Charlie's covers in the intervening 2 years have escaped violent criticism, and it was criticism that was more aggressive and less tolerant than before.